I remind you to know I'm speaking with Dr. Jennifer Jones-McMeans. She's Divisional VP of Global Affairs at Abbott Vascular Business and founding member of the Diversity and Research Office at Abbott. That's quite a title, Doctor. That's kind of weighty there.
Thank you.
You know, there's a silent epidemic leading to preventable amputations. I don't hear a lot of talk about peripheral artery disease. Let's talk with you. You are one of the experts, they tell me. Tell me, what is peripheral artery disease? And then tell me some of the signs and symptoms.
Sure. Well, peripheral artery disease is the disease of the arteries outside of the heart. So our heart has arteries and our lower extremities have arteries, such as our legs. And so when these arteries get narrowed and clogged with plaque and cholesterol, they actually can lead to pain. So think about in the heart, we all know this. This is called a heart attack, chest pain, radiating pain maybe in the back and the jaw. But this also can happen, though, in these arteries that are in our legs, and there can be actually pain, but there's lack of awareness of this pain. Now, this pain can happen when people are walking, when they're exercising, when they are going upstairs, when they're resting. It can be intermittent. It could be persistent, but the signs and symptoms, they're not as well known from the public. So many times they get ignored. They get, people may think, oh, well, you know what, I haven't walked in a while, or I did some heavy exercise. And so this can be a problem, especially when it goes undiagnosed. It can go into a very severe form in which you will actually can have wound development in the legs and in the feet.
I'm going to take this question from Instagram because people are listening or viewing all over, everywhere they are. And they want to know, can you tell peripheral artery disease condition from diabetic pain? Is there a difference?
Well, I could see that, this could actually this could probably collide together because of the fact that people with diabetes have a very high risk of peripheral artery disease. So if a person is having, diabetic leg pain, pain in the feet, it's very important that they actually go to their physician and get checked out, and also bring up, should I also be tested for peripheral artery disease? Because again, high probability of a person with diabetes, especially if it's not controlled, being at risk for peripheral artery disease development.
How many people each year are maybe impacted by this, and because they don't understand the condition?
Well, it's estimated that 1 in 20 Americans over the age of 50 have the disease. 12 million people in the United States are living with the disease, but only about 10% are diagnosed. So that's a huge disparity. And if you think about it, about 70% of Americans don't have awareness of the disease and understand the dire consequences. Some of these dire consequences are amputation. Amputation is not a first go-to for the treatment of this disease because amputations actually can lead to mortality or death. About 50% of people who get amputations can die in the first 5 years after the amputation. But it doesn't have to be an option. And this is why it's so important that we get the word out that if you are having symptoms, go get checked out. Ask them about peripheral artery disease. You want to get ahead of it so you can reduce your risk of this disease progressing.
Peripheral artery disease is also known as PAD. Does it disproportionately affect any groups?
It does. About 1 in 3 Black adults or African American adults have the disease, and about 1 in 5 Hispanic adults have the disease. Now, with African Americans, what we know is that they're 4 times more likely to have an amputation. A lot of this is due to late to diagnosis, misdiagnosis. And so again, I'm going to repeat to this that it does not have to be the option. So it's very important to have this awareness to, again, if you are over the age of 50, on your regular checkups, ask them about the disease. If you have diabetes, if you have hypertension or any past heart disease, you want to get checked out for peripheral artery disease because to make sure you can get ahead of it. And then there are treatment options in that Abbott actually came out with the first of its kind treatment option for the treatment of a severe form of peripheral artery disease below the knee. It's called Esprit BTK. It's a dissolving stent. Other treatment options, such as what we called, using a balloon angioplasty to push the plaque aside, they're just not very sustainable. And in clinical trials, Esprit, this dissolving stent, when it was placed in the leg artery and the artery was opened up, it released a drug. It releases a drug that stays in the tissue for about 6 months, and it keeps the artery open and prevents the retreatment needs that can many times happen with this disease. And it does dissolve over time so that if there is a retreatment, a physician can go back in. But it is considered the first of its kind. It's a sustainable treatment.
It sounds like if you are diagnosed by your primary doctor with this or a problem, what doctor treats PAD?
That's a great question. So if you are diagnosed by your primary physician, and they will refer you many times to an interventional cardiologist, a vascular surgeon, or an interventional radiologist. So there are 3 types of physicians that treat it. And they're actually the ones that are going to go in, they're going to take a picture of your leg and your leg arteries, and they're going to see if where the occlusion is, if there's an occlusion. And they're the ones that are going to decide if they can treat you with a type of therapy. For example, a Esprit BTK, if you were eligible to open up that artery that is shut down or closed or clogged.
This has been so informative, and I'm thanking my posters. Hopefully you got your question answers. But if they have more questions, and I know they do, then I have time, where do they go for additional information and resources?
Great question, because Abbott has a website for them. It's www.pad-info.com.
Dr. McMeans, you have been so informative. I'm so glad you brought this to light. This will probably help a lot of people. My audience is made up of over 1.7 million people on different platforms. But the key thing about them, they're people born between 1946 and 1964, and they're called baby boomers. And I'm thinking a lot of them can relate to this. So I want to thank you so much for stopping by the Valder Beebe Show and educating my audience.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Valder Beebe, host of the Valder Beebe Show. We have over 1,000 videos on ValderBeebeShow.com and YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow. We upload new videos daily. Our site is a modern baby boomer platform with news and information important to boomers. Subscribe to YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow and stay connected as I interview the world's most fascinating people.